Thanks, Mark. So I'm just going to set a timer because the last time I've done a presentation was back in my university years, which is actually a little while ago now, so sorry in advance. Yeah, how was everyone this morning? Good. Traffic was okay, not too bad. It started getting bad when I came in, so hopefully you'll hear okay. Yeah, thanks for coming out so early. I hope you have all had your morning coffee. Right now I have you trapped here for 15 minutes to hear me ramble a bit. So a bit more about me. My name is Anita, obviously, and my full-time work is actually formally a health professional. So when I clock off work, I consider myself a community dancer. So I don't know if you guys are sort of aware of what's been happening in Brisbane. There's been this amazing festival called the BrisAsia Festival. It usually happens annually. So it's been a pretty hectic last couple of weeks for like a lot of my friends in my dance community because we had to do like a summer party, a lot of performances happening. And in the back of my mind was this talk. Sorry, I can hear my voice is shaking a bit. It's not because I don't want to talk to you guys, I just run on adrenaline a lot of the time. Yeah, so essentially in the back of my mind I was thinking about this talk and I was like, oh, what is, you know, maybe a more unique experience of mine that I can like share with you guys here today. I'm the type of person who gets told like on a weekly basis I'm an overthinker and I overanalyze a lot of things. And I think I've just come to accept that's part of who I am. And I think it's really amazing to be in these sorts of environments amongst other artists so we can just, you know, let my brain be what it wants to be with just like a moderate filter, which is really nice. So before I start, with most arts and like art brains, obviously everything I say here today is really subjective. Subjective opinions, subjective experiences, and maybe not everything's 100% relevant to you, but I can guarantee you that I've reflected on these points like 100% on my perspective, and I hope it's something that you guys can get something out of. Okay, so our topic here today is the word divergent. Can I get a hands up of those who are confident in what that word means? Super confident. Not the movie. Yeah. Okay, thought so. So, Jess, if you don't mind, it's a little bit hazy, but ta-da! So this is Dr. Google. According to Dr. Google, divergent is defined as tending to be different or develop in different directions. When I was writing and typing this up, like not gonna lie, I was thinking about my high school assignments, and you know how you have to like link back to the topic and make sure it's relevant. So I was doing a lot of that. And I think dance is something that links a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds, and it can cause a lot of people to grow in really divergent ways. Like for example, my crew, we have a huge variety of people. We have like dentists, doctors, accountants, people who are students. It's really a nice place for different types of personalities to come to one place and enjoy something together. I don't know if you guys have heard of things like echo chambers, so people often hang around people who are similar in mindset, whereas I feel like dance is one of those places where you can really experience different people, per se. Yeah, and I think dance can link together a lot of different people and backgrounds, blah, blah, blah. And it can be a good or a bad thing, depending on what sort of mindset you have approaching into that. I think mindset I've learned is such a powerful tool to interact healthily with like a lot of different people. Because if you have different opinions, obviously it can be challenging. Because you know, if you think the right answer is blue, they think the right answer is red. You know, who's right, wrong? How do you agree on what color to decide on, per se? So I think something I want to comment on is life templates. So the way I was brought up, I was sort of expected to follow like a typical life template. I think a few of you can probably relate to this. For example, in school, you're expected to go to school, do your homework, get a good grade. That good grade sort of defines, you know, what you do at uni, how good you are, you know, the quality of your brain and your abilities. And then likewise, you go into uni. Next step is you again aim for good assignments, good exams, good grades. And then you aim to get a good job, good pay, probably meet someone, start a family. So you're sort of expected to like follow this template. Time. Cool. So essentially school and work always came first, and things like mental health, sickness, small things like your birthday, or anything that really can make people sometimes feel really happy was put second to that template. So that's what I was taught and grew up with. So I never skipped school when I was sick, unless I was like actually spewing or something. I never took days off for my birthday. I went to work recently and was like, why are you doing your birthday? I'm like, because I'm rostered on, that sort of thing. Yeah. So today I want to talk about something called like process, which is obviously pretty self-explanatory, but something I've been thinking about a lot over the last few months. Sorry. Actually, was there a slide before that? Okay, never mind. I don't think I made it to the final cut. That's okay. So I was going to comment on some things where I think society often trains us to learn to focus on that life template and like the end result. So the school example I gave before, a lot of times it's really focused on what grade, what number you get at the end, your BHA 10 or 9 or whatever, how well you do on your assignment, your exams. Something else a lot of you guys can probably relate to is like art class at school. Most people just care about what your painting looks like at the end. They're not going to go halfway and be like, oh yeah, you're doing a good halfway job. That's amazing. They're really probably just going to focus on what you finish and hand in at the end of the class, and that's what you get graded on. Building a house, no one's going to go out and say, that's a really nice wooden frame you've got there. It looks really solid. They're probably going to wait till the house is finished, admire all the details you put in, the finished result. So that's what people focus on. Even at work, my workplace, I'm lucky to be in a place where they don't focus on this too much, but I know a lot of workplaces that focus on like your stats, your conversions, how many sales you make, your numbers at the end of the day, not really what you do during the work day. And I think likewise for dancing, to bring this back to something a bit more unique to what I do, is there's a lot of focus on the end result, like a performance. So what you look like on your performance day, the video you just filmed, and like things like showcases, competitions, what number you play, so if you even made it past prelims, etc. So my personal dance story. So I wanted to share my first. Actually, sorry, Jess, do you mind if we go back to the previous slide? Yeah. So I just wanted to share my personal dance story with the concept of like enjoying the process. The first time I experienced this concept was in like a dance class. So for those of you who have never ever taken a dance class, essentially you go in and you learn from the teacher. The teacher teaches you like a set of moves. So it's usually like over the course of an hour. And then at the end of the class, you try to memorize the set of moves and you split into like small groups and you perform it to the class. So for those of you who think that's terrifying, it is. But it's a good way to challenge each other, and I think it's considered like a basic skill as a dancer. You go to class, if you have any dancer friends, you probably see their class videos and like out there killing it. Yeah, so that's what you essentially do in a dance class. First time I sort of started to go out to dance class, I was invited by friends. So it was a bit like a social event. I was like, oh yeah, I'll go out, I consider myself a dancer, I should be good at this, or like, I'll have a nice video at the end of it. So I go into class, I think I got the moves, I got the music, and music comes on, and it's, end of the class, we're all performing it, and then, of course, I stuffed it up. I don't know if you guys have heard of like the term red light syndrome. Some of the dancers like to use it when they're talking about when the camera film goes on, for some reason you tend to just mess up. You don't know why, it's like a magical disease, but you can nail it every single time leading up to that camera turning on, and it turns on, and she's like, what planet am I on? So anyway, that happens. My friends are awesome, so they didn't have it happen to them. So they have these awesome videos to post on social media. And I go home and I have this video, I'm like, yeah, I'm posting that. Cool, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe it's just a dud day. Maybe I just didn't do well. So this became like a weekly thing for I think a few months. So the second time I went, I'm like, okay, so today I'm gonna get this really good looking video because I want to post it with all my cool friends. So I'm really focused, I'm like listening to music, I'm revising whenever we have like water breaks. I'm really focused. And of course we do the groups, we split up, go for it, I'm like feeling the music, like, yeah, I got this. And then, of course, I messed it up again. And I walked out of class thinking like, am I really a dancer? Like, I can't do this basic skill that everyone can do. And I keep messing it up, and I have nothing to show for it. And I've just paid like $20 for this dance class. And, you know, I have nothing, I have nothing to post. I have no videos, I didn't do anything, I didn't take anything out of this. Yeah, so it was hard for me to also share this feeling with some people around me because, yeah, I'm surrounded by really talented people, and it can be like motivating, but also when I'm divergent from what they can do, it can be a little bit, not depressing, but it can make me feel a bit sad. So, you know, I just walk out of class, they've got all these awesome things to share, and I'm just like, oh, well, okay, see you next week. Cool, so I guess my turning point, so I'm going to give a little shout out to, there's a local dancer called Anita Perng. I think she doesn't teach in Brisbane at the moment, but anyway, she's beautiful inside and out. So this was another weekly class event, and we went out to her class. So same sort of setup, we learned the choreo, we're really focused, and it gets to the end of the class, we split into our groups, and we're ready to film. And I think a lot of people who go to classes are also ready to film. You know, everyone's like grabbing their phones, like heading towards the bag. And then she sees us doing this, and she's like, okay guys, wait, hold up. You know, I know it's popular right now to take your videos and post on Instagram, but I really want to remind you guys that what happens in class is not just the video at the end. You've just spent an hour here working on your dance ability and practicing through moves. You might be working on different things like musicality, groove, whatever. Don't forget to be present in what happens, and remember that what you take out of class is not necessarily the video. And so that might feel like common sense to some people, but on that day, after I've had a lot of weeks of feeling like I sucked and I didn't have anything to take from dance class, I was like, whoa, mind blown, right? Yeah, I just felt like a bad dancer for a while because it's a basic skill and I couldn't do it. So after she said that, you know, we did our groups, we took another class video, and you know what happened? I messed up again. So, I mean, I think that was the first class where I didn't feel really like sad after I left. I felt empowered because I had a different mindset. I sort of put myself into like this depreciating mental corner where I weighed all of my dance journey and my ability to like this one 20 or 45-second video. And it was sort of like, it is like still a bit of an uncontrollable circumstance because it must be some sort of like social anxiety, I think, to just blank in front of a camera. I'm actually still working on that, but I think I've accepted that it's also just a part of me. And one day we'll get along, but not yet. Yeah, and when I thought about it, like during that class, I did enjoy all of the class, and I could feel that I was growing during that class, except that part that I was growing through wasn't recorded. So I think that was, yeah, like a changing point in my mentality about thinking about the process. And after that class, I started thinking about the whole concept of trying to enjoy the process more in life. And I started looking in other places in my life where this might apply. Thanks, Jess. So something I sort of concluded is that, you know, most of your time in life is not experiencing just the end result, but it's often engaging the during. And it's important to find value where you spend most of your time. Because time is arguably one of the most precious resources in life. You can't get it back, and it's very limited. And I think as you get older, you also realize that magnitude. Thanks, Jess. So I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty proud of this Google graph. So time being the most precious resource, I graphed, you know, roughly what happens in a class. So in your class time, most of the circle, right? And then the class video is 1.3% of the time you spend in class. So time is a precious resource. If you're only going to enjoy 1.3% of your time in a class because of the video, it's like, that's not good value. You know that little picture on the internet about the potato chips and how like when you buy a bag, it's like not full. Can you imagine if your potato chip bag was like 1.3% full? You wouldn't pay for that, yeah? That's not worth it. So similarly, I started reflecting, and during this past couple of weeks, BrisAsia Festival, it can be a really stressful time. Ooh, I'm kind of over. Is that okay?
Keep going.
Keep going.
Sorry. Yeah, so the BrisAsia Festival, it's a really stressful time for a lot of people. Thanks to the nature of human procrastination, obviously a lot happened the very last week. And people can, everyone wants to put their best artist work forward, especially doing choreographer. You want it to look a certain way, but there are uncontrollable factors like, people getting sick, they're not in a good mental space, time, rehearsals, blah, 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 clashes. It can be frustrating. And then I find in that last week, a lot of people start to not really enjoy what's happening because they're all stressed and worried about this final performance. And I'm like, that seems familiar. Thanks, Jess. So this is my second beautiful little graph. So this is like practice versus performance. So I calculated how many weeks we practiced and how long our sets were. And surprise, surprise, really similar. Your time on stage is like 0.6% of the time you spend practicing. So I was kind of like, well, where am I weighing my happiness here? And where am I spending most of my time? And I should probably try to focus more on where I spend most of my time. Because during the prep, there are a lot of things that I think a lot of people enjoy, like the learning new moves, socializing with friends, learning different musicality. There's a lot in there, but sometimes I think we forget and just focus on that performance and what it's going to look like to the audience in that 0.6% time of your dance journey. So I guess where this can be applied to like other areas of life, I guess if you have a little think and think about where in your life do you feel like you're suffering, not suffering, but like you don't really enjoy most of it and you enjoy it when it finishes. So, for example, like work, is your favorite part of work when you clock off and like when you get your pay? Or are you actually finding things during your work day to enjoy? Same with school, like do you only enjoy when you finish school, like when the school day finishes? Or are you enjoying like the interactions with friends, your extracurriculars, the things your teachers are sharing? And I guess back to that artist painting metaphor, because I think most of us have done painting sometime in our life. When you're making a painting, like are you enjoying, finding the colors, finding inspiration? Are you enjoying the process? Or are you only enjoying it when you finish it, you have it on that easel, and you're like, hey guys, look what I did. Where are you spending most of your time and what are you enjoying the most? And then likewise back to dancing. Do you only enjoy the performance stage? Do you only enjoy your past videos? Or are you actually being present and enjoying like the whole process? Obviously this is like a variety of circumstances, and like, especially when you're a kid, you can't really go up to your parents and be like, excuse me, I'm not enjoying the majority of my time here at school, so we need to change something. But as an adult, you have the ability to choose like where you spend your time and your mindset. Do you enjoy the process, or are you in a place where there's too many uncontrollable factors, where you're not enjoying the majority of your time? And then that probably means you should really think about what potato chip bag you're choosing. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Anita. Yeah, nothing to worry about. You did really well. Thanks for that insight into your personal process. That does not make me any more of a dancer than I'm but if you want to see some of the amazing dancing on Instagram, it is at LunaXBlue, LUNAXBLUE_.
Woo!
Yes.
Blue, yes!
Wait, yes, you can see her marvelous and brilliant dancing. So again, someone more important than me has written something brilliant about Ruby, so I need to read that out and I'll stuff it up. So our second speaker is Ruby Yulu, and they are a ceramic artist, environmental scientist, and high school teacher, overachiever, based in Divergent, Brisbane. Born in Taiwan and moved to Australia when she was 11, Ruby grew up with a mixed culture that influences her artistic practice and worldview. Having published scientific papers and taught in high school, she's now diving into her lifelong passion for arts using clay to express her creativity. Ruby is intrigued by the possibilities of simple geometric shapes to form a sophisticated piece, such as stacked cube creations inside building, which you can win later on. Remember that. Ruby also loves working with organic tone and texture of various clay bodies to create unique patterns in a ceramic ware. Notably, the kurunuki, Japanese technique of hollowing out a solid block of clay in cups, revealing unique patterns when a solid block of clay is slowly carved out by hand. Sounds really interesting. Whenever opportunities arise, Ruby strives to connect and collaborate with other people to discover new ways to create. Currently, she has started the clay challenge, focusing on a slab-built cube for 365 days. Wow. Without further ado, please welcome Ruby.
Oh, you don't need the slides. It's fine. Like Anita, the last time I was holding a palm card, it's high school. Yeah. So I got this massive podcast, just bear with me. Okay, I'll try to be as fast as I can. Can you guys hear me? Is this working?
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool. Okay. So, good morning. Thank you again for coming so early to attend this joint event with BrisAsia and CreativeMornings. And I'm very honored to be here. And yeah, so my name is Ruby, and my birth name is actually Yu. And funnily, Yu in Chinese, my character means the carving tools. Like in the ancient times, it's like a writing pen, pretty much. And I was just thinking how fitting it is for me, because I use the carving tool every day for my ceramic work now. And Lu actually means scholar, so it means someone who studies. And I guess I have been quite academic in a way too, so thanks Dad for the name. Yeah. And I just want to mention about my last name. I always, when I was in school, the best way to break into a kid is using my name. Because my name actually, the surname, the same is Ye, and I always tell him it's Hey spelled backwards. So now every time you say hey, you can't forget me. You'll be like, hey, oh yeah, Ye ceramics. Yeah, sorry about that. Like Mark said, I'm here because of a joint collaboration we started last year to play this game of exchanging, you know, videos and sounds and visual arts. And it's been really, really fun, and we are still in a work in progress, and I think we'll keep going this year as well. And it's been, I guess last year was really interesting for me because a lot of people, like for the dancers, like for example Anita, she couldn't join a lot of the communities. But for me, I actually connected with the ceramic communities more than ever. I was able to use Instagrams, and I connect with potters around the world. And I guess the natural of pottery is that you work a lot of the time solo, and you share the process, and potters are very humble and they're very willing to share. So we share videos about progress on the internet a lot, and I really enjoy that, and I started doing it on the Instagram, and have met so many good friends who are probably, some of them are online listening to me now as well. So hi my clay pals, if you're online. And just a little bit about myself, which Mark already introduced. You can say I'm an environmental chemist, a classical musician, I play the piano, a high school teacher, I taught science and maths, now a potter, you can say artist, just artist, and whatever labels we give ourselves, you know. But, you know, I'm still just me. By now you can tell I have lots of divergent paths in my life, and I guess today I'm giving you a little piece of myself, mainly as a little bit of my life experiences and why I have all these divergent paths, and also a bit about my work that I'm doing this year for my book for play. Oh yeah, smile. Yeah, because I always tend to get really serious. I have a serious face and I forget I have to smile.
You have the best face.
Oh, thank you. So, really envious of my friends since high school, like when I was little. Because I always feel like everyone knows what they're doing except me. Like when I was in high school, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do after high school. And I also really suffered low self-esteem and confidence. And I often need a lot of external validations, which is a word I learned recently, which means that I get influenced by other people quite a lot. And I went to a really academic high school, and being going to academic high school, everyone wants to go into medicines, like, being doctors, pharmacists, especially in the Asian community, that was what seems normal. Like, Anita got into optometry. My brother's in optometry, most of my friends are doctors or dentists, and, yeah, and then as an Asian kid growing up, compliments also do not come easily. And I've learned that is why I haven't been able to accept compliments easily, and also why I have really low self-esteem, because I feel like it doesn't matter what I achieve, I was never good enough, and I'm always trying to go somewhere which is out of my reach. And I wanted to use this analog, which my husband actually, we had a chat, and then he was saying like, oh yeah, like, life, it's kind of, I thought life is like a conveyor belt. It's like what Anita said. You have this pattern formula you kind of think you have to fit in. It's like this long linear path that just takes you effortlessly through school. You just magically get a really good uni degrees, and then you magically find a husband, magically have a house, and a car, and you meet, you have children, maybe grandchildren or great-grandchildren. It's like this linear belt. I thought, oh, I'll just get there if I sit on linear belt. And then I thought, I must have fallen out of the conveyor belt. Because my life didn't turn out the way I thought it should be. And I feel like I'm walking in all sorts of directions, wondering, confused about where to go and why am I here. And I guess resulting in having different divergent paths, like a personality who wants to try everything because I don't know where I'm going, I guess. Sometimes I do wish life is simpler. I don't have, I can just be normal like everyone else. Well, now I know not everyone has the same, fits into the pattern, so it's fine. And following a good Asian daughter stereotype, like what I said, finishing a medical degrees, finds a husband, probably Asian. My husband's not Asian. Probably a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. That's the three, career paths that the Asian parent tells you. Yep. And, have a big car and many children. I definitely didn't tick all the boxes. So, and thinking back, life was already not going in a straight line when I first moved to Australia when I was 11. I had to learn English. I didn't speak English when I came here. I had to keep up with schoolwork. And on top of that, I had to grow up as fast as I can because my parents were not able to be here with me, and I was living with my relatives since I was 14. And my uncle and auntie has 4 daughters, with the oldest one 6 years younger than me. And being in that big Asian family, I'm the oldest kid, so there's a lot of responsibilities I had to take, like cooking, taking laundry out, and make sure the cousins don't kill each other. Yeah, when I could drive, I remember I used to yell at them a lot because they were pulling each other's hair. 5 girls in the house. It's chaotic. Yeah. And then I actually have a little baby brother, and when he was 9 years old, he moved back to Australia. And then I remember there was a point in my life where I was looking after him. I was 20, he was 9 years old, and we lived close to primary school so he could walk to school himself. And I was studying in uni, I was working a part-time job, I was helping him with his schoolwork, and trying to manage money that mom sends us from Taiwan. And I never really understand it when my friends go out partying and then go clubbing, and I didn't feel like I fit in school, I didn't fit in what everyone else is doing. I was doing my own thing and having my own life. And I didn't feel like, I don't know, I wasn't sure, who am I? And then there's also the identity crisis, which a lot of people who grew up here face. I feel like I'm halfway in between being a Taiwanese and Australian. So am I qualified as Australian because people keep telling me I'm not when I grow up here? So you still have accent even though you've been here for so long. And am I Taiwanese enough? And am I on the next slide? Sorry, I forgot about the slide. Oh, sorry. Yes. So why can't I just be like everybody else? Why can't life just be a conveyor belt I just jump on and everything magically happens? What am I supposed to be? So, next slide. I don't know if anyone recognizes this picture. Does anyone recognize this picture? Yeah? Do you know which book is it from?
Little Prince.
Oh, yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah. So it's actually one of my favorite books. And, sorry, I just told you about this movie description of my teenage years. Now I'm moving on to this picture because this picture actually stuck with me most of my life. Even before I could speak English, I read it in Chinese. My auntie gave me the book. And I really, in different life stages, I always find it has different meaning for me. So, the story behind this picture is in the beginning of the book. And I will not try to get too much into the story. You should read the book if you haven't. And because that will be enough for another talk or a book review session. And we don't have time. So, this picture, what does it remind you of? People who read the book, please don't. What does it remind you of? Does anyone?
I have.
Yeah, you read the book, obviously. Okay. Anyway, so it's about the narrator as a child who drew this picture, and he asked the adults, "So, are you frightened of this picture?" And then the next slide. The adults told him it's a hat. Why would I be scared of a hat? And then he drew a second picture which shows is an elephant being eaten by a boa constrictor. I know it seems really silly, you know. I don't think the boa could actually eat the elephant, but you know that's the adult of me, the big people in me saying that. You know, you can have imaginations, whatever. So the big people is in the English translation it says grown-ups, but actually in French it means the big people. So I'm going to refer to the big people and the little people about this section of the talk. The first time I read it, it was just like any other children's book. It's funny, and when I read it a number of times as an adult, it had a lot of hidden meanings to me. So the author has crafted to be interpreted differently according to your age. And if you read the book, you will know that what I mean. But basically saying that as we grow up, we become the big people, we're concerned about, like what Anita says, the numbers in the end, the paycheck in the end. We forget about the process, we forget about the little people inside of us that can imagine anything possible. And I was thinking, artists are actually really lucky in this way because we are the big people, but we were the big people who never forgot the little people inside. And I really like to say that being the little people means you can see the world in divergence, you can dive into the impossible. Like the elephant being eaten by a boa constrictor is definitely possible. And I thought, if we can be the big people that are not forgetting the little people inside, and then we can have the ability to bring out the childlike openness and curiosity in us, but we combine with the experience and the depth that life has thrown in us, our life experiences. And for me, that's what doing art really can achieve. And looking back as an adult, like as a child, it's just a picture, it's really funny, but now looking at it, it gave me a lot of meaning about being an artist. And like I said, I feel like I've fallen out of the conveyor belt a long time ago. I feel like I have wandered around in circles aimlessly, but all the experiences and different pathways I've taken has what made me today, that I'm able to stand here and talk to you about my life experience. I feel like I could give the little person inside me a pat and say, it's taken me a little while, but I can still imagine, I can still be creative, and I have found something I love doing, and I've gone back to doing art. I might have fallen out, but I've moved forward in my own way, in my own conveyor belts that's not set by the society. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I guess I'm now in my early 30s. I'm not here to tell you everything is okay, life is all okay. I still suffer from a lot of the traumas I had as a child, and I still suffer from mental health. But I've come to realize it's fine to be off conveyor belts with life, and it's okay to be different. It's okay not to fit in. It's okay to have divergent paths in your life, and just whatever you choose to do, try your best. And if it doesn't work out, do something else interesting and have no regret about your choice. Do your best, and you never know what may come out of it. I mean, when I did the environmental science degree, I didn't expect to finish my honors. I didn't expect to be working in the lab, and I didn't expect it to be published as well. And I never thought this quiet, introverted girl who couldn't speak English when she was 11 could become a high school teacher. And yes, and then standing in front of people and talk in English. And yeah, there were many fun times and also crazy times in all the paths I've taken, especially school, which will be another talk, just talking about school kids. Kids are pretty cute, but they can be really scary too. I'm sure people who've been in school know, or piano teacher.
Piano teachers are scary too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. As much as I've pondered about the purpose of my life all the time, like Anita, I'm an overthinker, overanalyzer. Like, I'm not good with jokes, because every time someone says a joke to me, I just overanalyze. I'm like, what's the meaning of that joke? Like, why did you say that instead of this? And then this moment, but not this moment. Yeah. And so I don't do well with jokes. Yeah. But I also recently realized maybe life doesn't need this purpose we're always looking for and always desperately looking for to be on that conveyor belt everyone else is on. Because it's not within my control, it's not within our control. And maybe we just can wander in this life, finding one interesting thing after another, kind of like what I'm doing now, until we die. So I don't resent having to grow up, with more, all the responsibilities, not able to go to parties with my friends, and not having like a normal teenage life, which I kind of glad actually. I've never been hangover in my life. Once. It's true. I don't regret jumping between different things, different careers. I feel like everything I did had something to offer, something that made me who I am today. And I feel like life sometimes feels really, really long, and it's definitely long enough to feel everything, feel all the frustration, the pain, the traumas, but also the good feelings. Like sometimes I look at the sky, I look at the flower bloom, and I look at the people who grow and create and who are supportive around me, and it's a good feeling. And life is also too short and goes by too quickly. It's too short to waste on being resentful of the past, and because nothing seems to matter if life is short. And too short to waste on doing things that doesn't feel true to us. So that's my kind of life experience lessons. For the next 2 slides, I'm actually just going to talk a little bit about why I started this cube challenge. So now I'm going back to my art practice after my gloomy kind of life experience. The cube. So I actually started this challenge this year, so I'm up to day 32, only day 32. And it's kind of fits into Divergent perfectly because I'm using a single cube form and I'm trying to diverge into different forms. It's like taking different paths, it becomes different things. And I was gonna ask you guys, when you see a cube, what do you think of? Like, what can you imagine? Kind of like the hat in the Little Prince. When you see a cube, what can you imagine? I have an answer I'm really looking for. Yeah, ice cube. What else?
Rubik's Cube.
Rubik's cube. Yeah. Ice.
Box.
Box. What
It's
else?
very nerdy, but the Borg from Star Trek.
Okay. That's not on my list, but that's good. I can add on. So I've got jewelry box, dice, bento box, container, sugar cube, Rubik's cube, wooden box, cushion, you know, those cube cushion. Yeah, erasers, filling cabinets, ice cube, I said that already, tissue box, building packing box. And this is the best, a wombat poo.
Wow.
Wombat.
They're so round. How can that food be so cute?
I know, right? It's amazing, I love wombats. So I just want to say, why did I set myself a limit to a cube? Because my friend who inspired me to do this 365 days challenge is actually doing like whimsical creations, which is what I love about play. Everyone's different. Because a few months ago, I did a challenge. It's called the ration challenge. Do you guys know the ration challenge? So the ration challenge means you are eating the same food as a Syrian refugee for a week, and the amount of ingredients is very limited. And I found in that week, because I have these limitations, I actually became really creative in my cooking. Like, I managed to turn flowers into, you know, dumplings, which I usually make, and then I make noodles myself. I was really creative with it, and then I thought, what do I try with cube, which is something I already work with, and see if I spend a year every day thinking about this cube and different forms, what I can achieve. So this is why I set this limit instead of just make whatever you want. Okay. So, oops, I'm up to my last slide. Last slide. Yeah. So it's a little bit disordered, but this is the first 4 cube creations I made diverged out of just a single cube form. So that's a stack cube, and then there's a cube in carve on a small cube, and then, you know, cube is just a cube. And if you're interested to follow along my journey on this massive 1-year project, which I hope I do finish, yeah, just go on my Instagram story, and it's YeCeramics. If you can spell hey, you can spell my name. And lastly, I want us to say those lanterns you have on the chair, I handmade each one of them yesterday for you guys. It's kind of crowds making them, and if you get the first few ones I made it a little bit dodgy. So if you want to swap, you can go on the different chair and get a better one. So the reason I made it is because today marks the 15 days of the Lunar New Year calendar, which is usually when you eat a glutinous rice ball to symbolize another year has passed. And also you have lantern. So back in Taiwan, I have huge lantern parades. We don't have huge lantern parade here, so you guys can just have the paper ones. And this sounds very corny, I guess, but I wanted to say, may the lantern shine up into one of the divergent paths you want to take. Thank you.